Well, that's wild. Why don't I have a camera? Holds everything. Hold on just a second, guys. I actually just fucking watch a video, I guess. The YouTube and the Facebook are going to be multiple videos.
Gather round. We're going to make Greg Bovino a star. Today in Green Cards for me, but not for thee, we're talking about the whittle guy, Gregory Bovino, the bravest little soldier leading the Ice Brigade and the public face of Donnie T's deportations. And since Greg loves the spotlight, we're going to give it to him. And it turns out, Gregory has some skeletons in the closet that he doesn't want us talking about, which means we're talking. Greg Bovino was raised in Blowing Rock, North Carolina, in a family descended from Italian immigrants. That's right, his great-grandfather was an Italian immigrant who lived in the United States for 15 years before deciding to apply for his U.S. citizenship. Uh-oh. So yes, the man who has made an entire career hunting, policing, and punishing immigrants comes from the exact kind of immigration story that would never be tolerated under the system that he enforces today. And while Greg is out parading as an SS officer telling the public that he's getting the real dangerous criminals, like those convicted of DUIs and murder, his own father was imprisoned for that very thing. On June 6, 1981, Gregory's dad, Michael Bovino, who was then the owner of the local bar, the Library Club, left work intoxicated, smashed into a car, and killed 26-year-old Janie Mae Mitchell. He was charged with manslaughter, pleaded guilty to death by a motor vehicle, and was sentenced to just 1 year in jail. And shortly after that, the family had to file for bankruptcy, sell the bar, and the parents divorced, which many of those who knew him then credit to creating the angry, desperate to prove himself little fella that we see today. And of course, nobody's responsible for their parents' actions. But when you build your entire brand and career around punishing other people's families, who you call the worst of the worst, even though many don't have any criminal convictions at all, then we need to talk about the hypocrisy. And ever since Greg was a littler boy, he's always wanted to be a border patrol agent. And now Greg has spent his entire adult life doing just that.
I lost the internet for a minute.
Now he's far away from the border that he's supposed to be securing, instead terrorizing American cities in order to put on a show for Donnie T and his base.
He's an angry elf.
Which, unsurprisingly, has kept him in some legal trouble. Just a few months ago, a federal judge found that he lied under oath about using tear gas during one of his Chicago operations. The judge also found that Greg lied about tackling a protester because video footage later showed him doing exactly that. This is a man who loves to talk about illegal aliens, law and order, the worst of the worst, who says that rules must be followed, no exceptions, unless, of course, you're him. Because Greg Bovino comes from an immigrant family who was allowed to stay in the United States for 15 years before deciding to apply for citizenship. When his father drove drunk and killed a young woman, it was treated as a tragedy, not as a reason to round up Italian immigrants and their children and grandchildren and label them as the worst of the worst. And when Greg himself ends up in court, is found to be breaking the law, the rules that he enforces on everyone else doesn't seem to apply to him. But the silver lining to all of this, he's currently 55 years old, which puts him 2 years away from mandatory retirement. And we know from history, I was just doing my job has never been a very good shield. Oh, and with all the time that Greg spends at the southern border, you really think he could have picked up some affordable dental care along the way. Can someone get this guy a juice box and a history book? Look, everyone, gather round.
If you're watching on, if you happen to be watching on YouTube, you're just gonna have to go to the new video. On Facebook, you have to go to the new video. Twitch, all you gotta do is refresh. But you're gonna have to hold on a second. I lost my camera in all of this, and I have no idea why. So bear with me. You're gonna see some behind the scenes stuff. I don't know. What the fuck? I had to deactivate it and reactivate it. Let's see if I can get the... I'm back on camera. Okay. There we go. I don't know what the fuck. So all that happened was my internet went out and somehow that nuked my camera. God damn, I hate updates. Let me make sure everything's working now. All right, yeah, YouTube's working. Facebook is probably going to be in 2 parts because I was disconnected for too long. Sorry. Don't know why, but that's what happened. Refresh, that worked 53 minutes ago, and then a new one started. All right, anyways, Greg Bovino, son of immigrants. You all were watching a video I was working on shit. So that happened. Next.
Since Sunday,
oh, this is the Chicago mayor. They try to bait the Chicago mayor into, oh, you were down here protesting us instead of cleaning snow off the roads. What?
I've had over 300,000 real Chicagoans reach out to me and express their anger that instead of plowing the streets, you were out protesting ICE. Your rhetoric has been encouraged.
You think he was not plowing the streets? You think that's what he does? Because he was at a protest. The streets weren't getting plowed.
People to rise up and fight ICE. Many people say that is the cause of the violence, the real violence against federal agents and law enforcement. There's also a concern that in light of this report that Governor Walz in Minnesota, that people in his office,
they've asked him 3 times to ask a question,
are actually coordinating these violent anti-ICE protests.
Please ask the question.
Anyone? Yeah, I'm trying to ask the question.
Thank you.
Please, if you wouldn't mind not interrupting me while I'm asking my question.
Ask it. Thanks.
So the question is, people are wondering if anyone in your office is coordinating with these ICE protesters to coordinate protest and violence against federal law enforcement.
What a boot-licking fucking cuck. Anyway, we're wondering, 300,000 people called me and said the mayor's protesting ICE instead of plowing snow. So I just want to know, are you working with Antifas?
First of all, let me again just commend the efforts and the work of the city employees that made sure that our streets were plowed and that we had warming centers available for individuals who were either unhoused or just need that type of assistance and support. Those hardworking men and women served this city honorably, so no one was stuck. No one had to be dug out. They were able to go to work and children were able to go to school. As far as using my platform to speak out against an administration that's murdering people in the streets, that's well within my right and my authority in this moment. And quite frankly, any notion to suggest that somehow that peaceful protest and the petitioning of this...
That's a very good answer, by the way.
...is somehow antithetical to who we are as a democracy, I will call into question how much that person actually loves this country. In fact, to not protest in this moment will be a derelict of duty, particularly at a time where we see the rise of tyranny and fascism.
Now's the time to protest if there's ever a time to protest.
That threatens the sensibility of our humanity. So of course,
and it works, right? It's it's making slight changes. The White House is all pointing fingers at each other. They had a 2-hour meeting with Kristi Noem. Melania Trump is pissed because her movie premiere happened at the same time they were fucking executing a man.
So I'm going to use my platform as those who have come before me to make sure that we have a democracy that works for all people. Working people are struggling right now in this moment, and they are afraid and they have a great deal of anxiety because of what this administration is doing, taking food assistance away from people, taking housing opportunities away from people. Healthcare costs continue to go up. So the protest, I believe, has to match the energy, quite frankly, that's coming from the White House. So yes, I'm going to continue to encourage people to rise up, lift their voices up against this authoritarian rule, because if we do not do that, all of us will be subject to the type of harm and cruelty that this administration wants to continue to spread against the hardworking people of this country.
Since Sunday, I've had over 300.
Hold on just a second. A very good answer. Sorry, I had to answer somebody about the stream going down. Fucking check the goddamn, check the fucking channel. I don't know. Don't fucking text me. Anyways, very good answer. If now's the time to protest, what the fuck does that have to do with plowing? This guy does not drive a dump truck. You understand that, right? He doesn't drive a snow plow. He doesn't spread salt. That's not his job. So if you want to go to a protest, go to a fucking protest. Show some solidarity. Bootlicking motherfuckers. This is back to the Greenland case. This is actually an older video, but it's got some good information in it. Trump potentially taking over Greenland.
If I'm right that Trump is moving towards taking Greenland, we will hear these lines again and again and again, and we need to start challenging them. And one fundamental line is Greenland is absolutely essential to the security of NATO because, Russia can use the Arctic. And therefore, the United States obviously has to make Greenland part of the United States. Now, there's a number of claims there. Number one, this isn't an administration that actually behaves as though Russia is an existential threat. If they really believed Russia was an existential threat, they'd be doing different things in Ukraine. In fact, it's a
Right. If Russia's this threat, why are we not destroying them where they're at in Ukraine?
administration that keeps assuring us that Putin has perfectly reasonable demands in Ukraine. If you just gave him Eastern Ukraine, he's not going to cause any trouble to anyone anyway. So how does that stack with?
So he's not a threat to the UK. He's not a threat to those other countries that surround him, right? The former USSR countries. He's not a threat to Poland. He's not a threat to the United States when we're talking about Ukraine. But when we're talking about Greenland, we have to have it because he's the biggest threat we've ever seen. And he's going to take it if we don't.
We need Greenland because Russia is an existential threat. Number two, there is no limit, basically, to the number of troops that the United States could keep in Greenland. Mm-hmm. They have actually radically reduced the number of their troops in Greenland. There's no reason...
We're pulling troops out, even though there's no cap on how many troops we could have there.
For them to own Greenland, if what they're saying is this is vital to NATO's security, the only conclusion is they need US troops there. But they've decided not to put US troops there, despite the fact that Denmark is happy for them to keep troops there. The more dramatic thing is that Trump doesn't even really bother.
God, you guys remember when we were at the good old days of Trump holding the Bible upside down and trying to get General fucking Milley to fire on protesters but just shoot them in the leg?
That much with legal arguments. There's not even the hypocritical stuff that gunboat diplomacy in the 19th century did. You know, when Britain was going around doing terrible things and taking other people's territory, they were always pretending they were doing it for a good reason. You know, they were dealing with the slave trade or they were dealing with some human rights abuse. Trump is almost the first person since Genghis Khan to say, I'm just going to help myself to territory. I'm not even going to pretend actually this ever...
We can do it the easy way or the hard way. They can't stop us anyways.
...belong to the United States. But instead, to quote Stephen Miller, the US should have Greenland.
The word he...
I do think we need a presence there. I think that we probably need the Navy operating out of there because of global warming and the shit that's opening up in the Arctic. And Russia is basically... trying to take all that over unimpeded, right? There's going to be brand new shipping lanes that are opening up as the fucking ice melts.
He and others have been used.
And that's what we do, in case you didn't know. We basically control the world's fucking oceans and keep it open for everybody to use.
I've noticed, I think Vance used this word as well when they were questioned about, is this legal? And they talked about, well, we can sit here and talk about international niceties, okay? And so the nicety is the idea that there is such a thing as a sovereign nation. As Stephen Miller said, it's a very small population, but it's a country, it's a people, it's a culture, it's a history.
If I'm right...
More brown people, technically. But they don't care. Well, they're kind of backing off of it now, but they're kind of not backing off of it. They're backing off the ICE shit, but they're not backing off of it. They're sending Tom Homan, and they fired Bovino, but they didn't fire Bovino, and they yelled at Kristi Noem, but Kristi Noem said it was Stephen Miller, and Stephen Miller said, well, we got it from CBP agents. By the way, the White House has come out and confirmed this. They said, so let's learn something. So there's been a big buildup of DHS officers, okay? Now, that doesn't all mean that they're fucking us. In fact, a lot of them aren't us. So if we have, I talked about this last night, if they wanted to do it smoothly. So if we have, how should I lay this out? Let's say these are city roads, okay? Is that a fucking skid steer pulling in? These are city roads. Okay, and then we have a bunch of different buildings in these city roads, right? Some big buildings, some smaller buildings. And then there's going to be another set of buildings here, and there's an alley behind it or whatever, right? Okay. And then there's obviously buildings everywhere else. But our target, the guy we want, the guy we're doing enforcement action on, is right here, okay? That's where we want to go get him. So, these people doing this should be ICE agents. That's not what we saw. In fact, we're told the people that shot Alex Preddy were CBP officers, okay? And the White House came out and said, hey, we've sent a ton of people there, okay? A ton of extra people there, but we directly instructed them. We told them, okay? Put an O in the corner. We told them that these extra agents were not supposed to be directly interacting with these people. Instead, they were supposed to be there to just be like a security line. It's called an inner cordon and outer cordon. So if this is your target, you might go to the end of the streets here. What's another color that'll show up good? Pink. You might go to the end of the streets here and put an inner cordon. These agents are not doing apprehensions. They're not going to takedowns. They're not doing nothing. These agents come up the way I described it the other night. I said you could swoop in. You could close off a city block. You could have these people that deal with the protesters, and they got the smiling face on. They're like, hey, we're just doing this. We're picking up a guy. You got to stay back here. We got this closed off, blah, 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 whatever. This is the inner cordon, okay? Now, if you're expecting a lot of fucking action, we can run an outer cordon. An outer cordon would be even outside of this. And these are people that don't look like fucking military officers, right? They look like regular goddamn police and maybe even a spokesperson that's interacting with the fucking public. These people they sent were never supposed to be doing this. They were supposed to be doing these things. And that's what the White House is saying. Hey, we sent these agents there, and what they were supposed to do is providing backup and, helping to do this and blah, 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 whatever, right? They weren't supposed to be hands-on doing these arrests and dealing with protesters. That wasn't their job description. So they're trying to back off of it. Now, I don't know if that's what they told them, and that's how we get CBP agents that are out here doing Customs and Border Protection. I don't know if that's how we got them doing this and fucking shooting people and shit or not, but that's the White House's story. The way I would do this, I would have so much, when we went to snatch somebody, I'd have so much goddamn information on them. I would know when they were going to take a shit, right? And I would have somebody that deals with the public, like a publicity officer on site. I would have everybody looking like they're just fucking, like the tactical people are on the inside doing the tactical job. Everybody else would look like police officers, right? We wouldn't have riot shields and riot gears. They'd be there talking to the protesters, saying, hey, we're just doing this action. We're going to make sure everything stays safe. It would be documented. We'd have legal observers there. We'd have everything, you know what I mean? To where no one could accuse me of violating any fucking body's rights or law. And these agents that have to deal with the actual threat, because there's a chance these people could be a threat, right? They might pull a gun, run, whatever. Those people would never have to deal with the people that are there protesting. Right? Their job would be dealing with a threat and actually dealing with a threat, not take the people that are all keyed up and supposedly dealing with a threat and have them shoving women over ice banks. You know what I mean? The White House is sticking to this. This is our story. We told them those agents were supposed to be there. That's what Stephen Miller is currently saying. We'll see that in a second. And then I just like this guy's mentality. I think this guy's a real winner. We should probably put him in for some type of Presidential Medal of Freedom or something after Trump's gone.
Free ass whoopings for ICE and ICE supporters. Yes, ma'am. You can sign up right here or sign up your husband's name if he is an ICE supporter. We will gladly whoop his ass.
You can sign up your husband. What's his name? Sign him up. We'll whip his ass.
Yes, sir. Can you read well? I'll read it to you.
You want to kick my ass because I support ICE?
If you sign your name right here, I will gladly whoop your ass. Okay.
07's in the chat. That's right.
For ICE and ICE
Full
supporters.
salutes.
Yes, you can sign up right here or sign up your husband's name if he is an ICE supporter. We will gladly
sign up your husband. If your husband's an ICE supporter, we'll whip his ass. Okay? He says some sideways shit to you lately, I'll show up and whip his ass.
Good luck.
Yeah, yep. As soon as they come, write their name right here.
Yeah, I'm right here.
All right. Look, I got a permanent marker right here.
Sign your name and wear this ass whooping.
They don't want that smoke. Get the fuck out you out here, boy. It's gonna hurt even worse because these motherfucking hands is cold as rocks right now. That's all you're gonna hear when the bitches hit.
Good luck.
Yeah, yep. As soon as they
He says, I'm right here as he's walking away.
Bitch ass nigga. They don't want that.
Get him.
Beat the fuck out you out here, boy. It's gonna hurt even worse because these motherfucking hands is cold as rocks right now. That's all you're gonna hear when the bitches hit.
Morning. Morning.
You need an ass whooping?
We're handing out free ass whoopings to ICE and ICE supporters. You can sign your name right here, or release any charges that you can press against me, or you can whoop my ass. Which one you want? Or you can just say, God bless you.
God bless you.
God bless you. Have a great day, sir.
That guy don't want no smoke, does he?
The guy in front of you said he did.
Got him.
Bitch ass nigga. They don't want that smoke.
What's the deal?
We're handing out.
That's the body cam.
Or you can whoop my ass. Which one you want? or you can just say, God bless
That's
you.
community service.
Bless you.
God bless you. Have a great day, sir.
That's what that is.
I don't like ice either.
The guy in front of you said he did.
Free ass whoopings. ICE and ICE supporters. Love it. I hereby release my right to press charges on random German due to the fade I signed up for a free ass whooping. Due to the fact I signed up for a free ass whooping.
I'm not gonna press charges. I'm gonna beat your ass.
Doing a Lord's work out here at the Dollar General.
I'm not gonna press charges. I'm gonna beat your ass.
Hell yeah, get him.
Here, man, have a buck.
The fact that it's freezing outside is funny too. This guy's giving money to the homeless.
I don't need a buck.
This guy's trying to give him money.
Thank you, though. Have a buck. Here, man, have a buck.
As soon as you sign your name right here.
ICE agents and supporters, please come put the badge down.
I'm guessing he did this on live stream the way he's talking to the camera.
Throw them bitches. Free ass whoopings for ICE and ICE supporters. Yes, ma'am. You can sign up right here or sign up.
I think that's the first guy right there.
Supporter. We will gladly whoop his ass.
That's the funniest part. Sign up your husband's name.
Yes, sir. Can you read well? I'll read it to you.
You want to kick my ass because I support ICE.
If you sign your name right here, I will gladly whoop your ass.
Get lost.
Okay.
That's what I figured.
Whoop the ass of...
He don't want no smoke.
God damn it.
Oh, there's a sign froze. Damn it. I wanted to freeze the sign. Hold on. Hereby relinquish my right to press charges on... Oh, Rodine. That must be his name. Rodine German. Due to the fact I signed up for a free ass whooping.
God damn it. Oh, we're going to get this guy. We got to get this guy.
I'm right here while he walks away.
Good luck.
Yeah, yep. As soon as they come, write their name right here.
Yeah, I'm right here.
All right.
I'm right here while he walks away. I think it's legal. Hell yeah.
Oh, hold on. Before you go,
How long's he been doing this?
check out my sign. Just making sure.
Look at this. Department of No Bitches. That's funny meme. Follow me, Kingro 2147, all platforms. So there you go. Follow him, Kingro, Kingro. Whipping ass at McDonald's, bro. All right, we got to go to this new video. It is Alex Preddy, new video. I'm going to tell you right now, MAGA's going to try to shove this down your throat over the next couple of days. It doesn't change a single fucking thing. Not a single fucking thing. They still shot him. They still executed him. They still disarmed him. 7 guys couldn't take him. This doesn't change a single fucking thing, okay? But yes, he was already at some type of engagement days before, almost 2 weeks before. And yes, he kicked it appears that he kicked an ICE agent's car.
This is a moment the news moved.
This all happened. Remember the story that he told a coworker that ICE agent broke his rib. He saw a family, that was being chased or whatever, and he got out and tried to help him, blew his whistle, whatever, and engaged with them. This is where he probably got his ribs hurt or whatever.
This is a moment the news movement filmed on January 13th in Minneapolis, showing a man who appears to be Alex Preddy interacting with federal immigration agents 11 days.
Also, there's a big fake rumor going around, and people are sharing it like it's a news clip, and it comes from like some Vietnamese fucking news channel, right? And it says that his family says that he quit his job recently and started hanging out with a weird group, and he had all that's fucking bullshit. His family never said any of that.
Days before border patrol.
They're trying to say that his dad was like, oh, you're Antifa. He started hanging out with this weird group and withdrawing, and all he thought about was this, and he didn't go to his job because he quit it, and blah, blah. They're trying to make him out to be Antifa or some shit. None of that's true. But it does appear it's him, and it does appear he kicked this car.
Patrol shot and killed him.
And that's when they get out.
It was analyzed by the BBC, whose facial recognition technology confirmed.
It does seem like he's carrying on this day, too. If anything, this shows like you can have an engagement with a man and not fucking execute him.
His identity to a 97% degree of accuracy. On the morning of January 13th, our team received a tip that federal agents were blocking a street at the corner of East 36 and Park Avenue in Minneapolis. We arrived around 10:15 a.m.
He's armed in this one, and you can see it printing like hell, and he wasn't executed here. If anything, this proves that you can have a fucking interaction while he's doing whatever the fuck he does, and if you want to arrest him, detain him, whatever, you can do all of that without executing him.
We saw observers shouting at the agents as they walked back to their vehicles. When they started driving away, the man kicked their taillight.
Busted that fucking taillight, too.
Vehicle, grabbed him, and pushed him to the ground. During the altercation, agents fired tear gas and pepper balls into the crowd. They continued to hold the man down before they retreat, and he walks away.
So they had a completely legitimate interaction with him without fucking executing him.
The man in our footage is wearing a similar outfit to what Preddy was wearing on the day he was killed. What appears to be a gun is also visible.
There he is. I don't know if you guys just saw that, but clearly and these ICE agents, it's not like they didn't fucking see it. Look at that. The whole goddamn grip is out. They end up thinking it's not worth it and fucking kicking back to the street. So all this shows is you can have an interaction with them, and cops don't shoot on sight when they think they see a gun. The guy could be legally carrying it, which he is.
Is also visible above his waistband.
To be fair, it might have technically become illegal with carrying it once he kicked the car and committed a crime, but still. They can interact with him without fucking executing him. I think they made the decision, we don't want to anger this crowd more. There's probably more of them than there are of us. We don't want to have a fucking massacre. But honestly, that's a decision cops make sometimes, right?
Here, he continues to stand at the scene.
This does not change. I don't care if he went up and punched one of these agents and he had just gotten out of it. This does not change at all. 7 men held him down while they fucking killed him after they disarmed him. It doesn't change any fucking thing about the other video 2 weeks later.
On the day he was...
But they're going to try to use this to justify it. Like, oh, he was a professional agitator. He was there. He was trying to engage. He was trying to get him, but get fucked.
Killed, the Department of Homeland Security claims Preddy, a 37-year-old ICU nurse, approached officers holding a handgun. That claim has been contradicted by analysis of bystander videos from multiple news investigations.
Actual Justice Warrior and Destiny, I saw a debate of them today, and Actual Justice Warrior are trying to fucking argue that you could be charged for blowing a whistle because you might be tipping off the criminal that they're trying to get fucked.
Which concluded that Preddy was holding a phone, not a gun, when he was pinned to the street.
It's hard to see because the camera swings away a couple times, but he might have been kicked in the ribs or something. He told a coworker that when they went down on the grounds, that an officer got on top of him while he was on the ground, but who knows? And he was somebody, one of the major news outlets confirmed that he was receiving treatment that would coincide with a fractured rib, which might have just been pain medicine or some, it might have been fucking anti-inflammatory. Who knows? But the camera swings away 2 or 3 times. He may have been hit. Who knows? The one guy, such a fucking one ICE agent's a retard, goes to grab him by behind and realizes he has a jacket on. He ends up just with a handful of jacket as he flies over top of him.
Shortly after the altercation we filmed here on January 13th, federal agents drove away. Soon after that, we left the scene.
I think the guy's name is Sean. Hold on, I'll show you.
This is the...
Let's go to, I think I watched it on YouTube, so it'll be under my history. He made a lot of fucking dumb arguments to me, but the boot must fucking taste good. I don't know what to tell you. Oh, no? Already passed it. Hold on. Here it is.
In order for your scenario to work, you have to not tell the truth.
This is why I don't think that it's worth it for Walls to take the ultra kind position and to say, oh, there should be no violence in front of these people like Sean.
So basically, even though Tim Walz and Mayor Frey, they come out and said, don't be violent, don't intercede, just protest, make your voices heard, but no violence, no this, no that, whatever. Sean, Actual Justice Warrior, is his YouTube channel, says, oh, well, they said something about Anne Frank and Minnesota being like Anne Frank, and that means that they're Nazis, so they're justified in killing them. Donald Trump's literally claimed to, he wants to fucking hang other politicians.
And all the other Republicans will constantly mischaracterize every single thing they say.
Steven, Sean, thanks for joining me.
Thank you for having me.
It was obviously all seen the different video angles. It seemed unjustified shooting.
From him. Now, there's a lot of speculation that the firearm that the guy had, Alex Preddy, is one of these defective firearms that will often improperly discharge. And I've seen video that makes the case that has happened. It's not confirmed as far as I know. But if you have officers yelling gun, 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 then you get the gun removed. And not every officer knows that. Hopefully in that situation, people start shouting clear so that they know that the gun is gone. But then you hear a gunshot seconds later, and then people respond to that gunshot. You're in a situation where somebody who died shouldn't have died, obviously, and it's a tragedy, but it's not a crime.
Again, if we're just going to start shooting, when someone's hands are on the ground, they're on all fours, and you hear a gunshot, and we're just going to start executing people, that seems wild to me, right? I understand that's a jumpy situation, and you probably want to shoot back, and you don't know where the shots came from or whatever, but don't we have to basically make sure that the guy that we're going to kill is the one? What if there'd have been 5 people there, and a gunshot went off? Do we just shoot all 5 of them? There's 10 agents, so you shoot, 2 of you shoot him, 2 of you shoot her, 2 of you shoot her. What do you mean?
It's not a murder. It's not a manslaughter, because they're responding to circumstances in that moment, and legally this is how we judge those standards. That being said, it is tragic. I wish this guy would not have gotten shot in this scenario. It's just that's what it looks like happened as of right now.
All right, Steven, your perspective on this.
Yeah, so unless there's more circumstances that I'm not aware of,
And I swear, the guy with the best fucking view of him being disarmed is the one who fucking shot.
don't see any reason why the officers would have interpreted him as being a threat. We've heard a lot of crazy things from this administration, from Kristi Noem, from the guy who just got fired, but I want to say Bongino, but it's not him. Bovino? Yeah, Greg Bovino was the commander. Yeah, the commander of the at-large forces for ICE, and then Trump himself has been posting on Truth and everything that this guy was attacking officers and was brandishing his weapon and acting in a threatening manner. And I just don't see that anywhere. I don't see how this cop could have ever thought that this person was a threat. There's a lot of questionable stuff leading up to the altercation, to where he's pushing this guy, pepper spraying. I really just don't see any justification. There's some things you can kind of be on the wall with, but for this particular shoot, I don't see how it was an ethical or a legal shoot when one considers the totality of the circumstances. I don't think that officer should have ever felt like his life was in danger.
Yeah, that's what it comes down to, Sean, legally speaking, is whether the officer would have a reasonable fear of their life being in or bodily safety being in imminent danger. And if they do, then that's where you get a legally justified shooting. But if they don't, and not to say they weren't scared, they could fear for their life, but that fear might not be reasonable to an average person. And when you have a situation where this guy is basically like face down towards the ground, his back is up, there is a gun involved, and you mentioned that it may have discharged, of course. We don't know that for sure. That's being investigated. And I guess my question is, how much does that even change, though? Because well-trained officers hear a gun discharge and just immediately unload 10 bullets on the person in front of them who isn't holding or touching a gun.
I wish somebody would have thought in the moment to ask him, what if there's two suspects? What if there's two there? Let's say one of them's disarmed, one of them's not. Let's say neither one of them's been patted down yet, but they're both on the ground and they hear a gunshot go off. We just kill them both? Now 3. How many can we kill because we heard a gunshot? How many can we kill because we heard an acorn? How many can we kill because a car backfired?
It doesn't sound right to me, Sean. Not that I'm, trained as an LEO.
Sure, because you're skipping a few steps. So first of all, prior to them removing the firearm from him, it was identified they're all...
You can't post links here. You have to send it to me or post it in Discord or
all
something.
shouting gun, gun, gun. So everyone in that space knows that this suspect has a gun at that moment. Then they get the firearm away. We don't know if all of the officers know that that firearm has been removed. Then you hear the discharge of a weapon. So it's like, oh, everybody identified that this guy had a gun, whether they saw it or not. They understand that that's what's being called out to the other officers. Then you hear a discharge of a firearm and they react to that discharge. So it's not like a gunshot from across the street that had nothing to do with anything while they were first approaching this guy. This is mid-altercation, mid-resisting arrest that this happens, which is why, again, I consider this an unfortunate shooting, but not a criminal shooting.
Right. I don't know, if you make a massive mistake in your perception and somebody is disarmed and still shot because you misunderstand something, I mean, isn't that what manslaughter charges are?
Well, if somebody's disarmed when, though? Like, we're talking within a span of a couple of seconds. Like, he did have the gun on him. That's why the guns were drawn in response. You have all these...
Okay, then draw that line for me. Disarmed when? We're talking about the span of a couple of seconds. Draw that line. Is it 5 seconds? Is it 10 seconds? When are they now liable for him? 10 seconds? 20 seconds? A minute? 5 minutes? Does every officer have to nod when someone says he's been disarmed and they have to do this and then they're liable?
People yelling out gun, 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 so they think that he has the firearm, and then again, we don't know right now if it's the case.
I'll watch it later, but I'll search it up.
It looks like it from a video, but it's a slow down, grainy video. I'll give you that. But you have a discharge of a shot, then a slight delay, and then you have the shots coming in after the fact, and you're like, oh well, he's not facing them at that moment in time. There are plenty of instances where somebody's turned away from you, and they're...
I used to have links on, but every once in a while, I don't know, I get on the IP2 streamers and they post and people come in here and post some fucking wild shit and then bots and it's just, but thank you for the link.
Firing.
I will check it out
He's
later.
not touching the gun. The Wall Street Journal did the frame by frame and they found at no point was he touching the gun.
He can't be touching the gun there if it's in a Border Patrol agent's possession. So
right.
Yeah, I mean, obviously if you gave
oh shit. I accidentally started playing.
Why did they ever draw their firearms? I don't think it was because he was reaching for a gun or saw...
It's because they identified a gun on his possession, which is why they were shouting gun, gun, gun. And
sure, again, it can't be the rule that if you have a gun on you, the cops can draw their firearms and execute you, especially when leading up to the circumstances. So. But there is leading up to the circumstances. There's no reason to think that this guy was a threat or that this guy was...
If you have a firearm, you can watch as many traffic stops as you want where somebody identifies that they have a legal gun in the car. There is a great chance that the officer will draw their gun just
I've never, ever... So I've been pulled over a bunch of times, told cops I had gun in the cars. There's been times they've seen guns in the car, maybe just suspected guns were in the car, especially if you have like a fucking NRA sticker or some type of sticker. I've never had an interaction with a cop. Most of the time, the cop will literally say this phrase. I don't know if it's been taught to them or if it's just, something they say because everybody else says it. Most of the cop, when I tell the cop I have a gun, he'll say, if you don't draw yours, I won't draw mine. Or if you don't touch yours, I won't touch mine or something like that. I have never been like, okay, I'm licensed to carry, so I'm carrying. And the cop's like, you're carrying? Like, what the fuck?
You have a gun. And that's not even in a situation where somebody's actively resisting arrest and there's a struggle. So like They didn't shoot him because he had possession of a gun.
That is absolutely not true. I've seen so much cop slap videos. They don't have to draw their firearm just because you identify that you have one in the car. Now, if you're reaching for a gun, or if officers believe you're reaching for a gun, or if you're scuffling and somebody identifies a firearm,
if they expect the chance of a deadly force.
The only time, I guess, in a traffic stop that I've had a gun, well, that's probably not the only time. I have been like, cop come up and like he asked for something, I turn around and dig through the cubby and then come back and hear his holster click. Like when I was digging through the center console thing, I have heard them not pull it all the way out, but like undo they usually carry those like Safariland level 2 or level 4, whatever they are, where they have like the lock or whatever. I've heard the lock come off and then just get enough distance where the lock can't re-engage.
Threat, then they will, then not all the time, obviously you can find videos where this doesn't happen, but they will very likely draw their firearms in that scenario because you want to have it at the ready.
I agree, but you just totally changed your argument. You said expect deadly force, just merely identifying.
No, I didn't say expect deadly force. I said expect them to have their guns out.
That's not what you did. Well, okay. If you want to say that, that's
he was
fine.
executed for
you just said they expect deadly force threat. A cop will not draw his weapon simply because you've identified that you have a firearm. There's a
because a firearm is a deadly force threat.
Yeah, but he's not if you're not brandishing
firearm in a holster
several times with a firearm in my car or concealed carry. Just because you identified the officer you have a firearm doesn't mean that they're going to pull their gun out and aim it at you. They'll probably ask to be the ones to remove it. They'll probably ask to be the ones to handle the firearm, which is fine. But simply having a firearm does not necessitate them brandishing their weapons at you.
Again, but you're cutting out
I have had the cops come up to me and be like, "I'm going to remove your weapon while we, whatever."
Context. You're cutting out the context of this.
I think I was a witness to something the last time I had a cop say, I'm going to move your firearm just for my safety, blah, blah, put it in the car.
Situation. He didn't just have a firearm on him when they first approached him. He had it mid-resisting arrest. That's when this information was revealed. And that's when the guns were drawn.
He didn't pull the firearm at all. The cop was fighting him on the ground.
That's when this information became known to the officers.
Sure, that's fine, but they shouldn't have been tackling him and pushing him onto the ground. There was no reason for...
He intervened in their other encounter with that lady.
He did not assault.
Hang on,
one second. Let's Sean, let's just be clear. Everyone's seen the video, and I understand when you see him, we see a woman pushed to the ground who he may or may not have been with, and then we see him kind of step in front of and put an arm up in almost like a de-escalation attempt, and then he does touch the officer, but you acknowledge he wasn't like assaulting the officer. That maybe it was a mistake.
I said he was intervening with whatever that encounter was.
And does that inherently constitute obstruction if you simply step into a situation?
Like he was literally putting his body in between them to obstruct them. Like if you go see somebody get arrested on...
I think that might require intent. If he's just picking the person up or if he's like, whoa, just calmer heads prevail.
The street, like go put your body...
I don't know that would stick. So imagine this. He's saying that's enough. Imagine someone shoves somebody and someone's like, hey, let's calm down here. And then that guy gets immediately cuffed and goes before a judge. All he did was say, hey, let's calm down here, right? And he goes before a judge. You think the judge is going to rule obstruction?
Between that person,
I mean, I agree that's a mistake to do. I agree that's a mistake to do.
Hold on, wait. To be clear, the lady was not being arrested. We have no evidence of that whatsoever. The cop is just shoving people over. It just seems like the cop is just...
Over a snowbank, it looks like.
Look bad.
Well, not just bad, but the cop is just acting with an unjustified use of force that makes no sense unless he's just like attacking people. Like
right, and the cop has to be within his full legal authority to make his actions valid, and anybody interfering with those actions to be some type of interference.
No point in an arrest. You're just shoving people over for what?
Again, fine. If you see an officer put somebody on the ground and it's not clear what...
I think they're trying to fucking escalate is what it seems like to me, dude. Like... I don't know why they want the fight. I mean, like, I know why. The administration has pushed them towards them, and they have no fucking restrictions, and they're being pumped up. These people want to kill you, and we need social media videos of blah, blah, blah. But, like, Jesus Christ, it's like they go in there and try to start a fight.
Whether they're arresting them or not, then go put your body in between you and that person.
I think so.
And see if that's going to work out for you.
Sure. So you conceded the whole...
Well, I just asked. I think that scenario is good. Let's say a cop shoves somebody, and you're like, hey, can we just calm down? And immediately you're arrested. Boom. Hypothetically, you're immediately arrested in front of a judge. And the judge sees that body cam of you going, hey, can we just calm down? It's no big deal. I'll take her, or whatever you say. Do you think a judge puts you in jail over that?
Whole argument, because you keep morphing the words every time.
I'm not morphing anything.
You are. If you see an officer put somebody on the ground, if the officer was like...
So first of all, it's one thing to like take somebody and you're in the middle of detaining them. It's a whole nother thing for an officer just fucking shove somebody down the way he did.
That woman was in the middle of traffic.
Going to the ground. We're not talking about any of that. He shoves the woman with his arm, right? Do you acknowledge that he just shoves the woman aside with his arm?
Yeah, he shoves the woman that's in the way. Yeah.
Well, she wasn't in the way when he shoved her.
She was in front of just a random car on the wrong side of the street, the opposite side of the street.
Right? Shoves the woman. Okay, go ahead.
So he shoves the woman with his arm. Doesn't look like there's an arrest. I don't know why you would do that. If you want to arrest him, you'd probably hold them still and arrest them, right? It seems like he just gets mad, just shoves the lady away. And then the guy, I don't even know if he puts his hand on him, but it looks like he steps in and then turns around to pick the woman up as the cop just starts pepper spraying the guy with the phone. Why? There's no reason.
From behind into the side of the face. Pepper spray.
He gets in between the officer and the subject that he's engaged with. And
Which is not a good idea.
Wanted to arrest
He's not engaged with the subject.
Let's use our words, right? Say, hey, man, I'm making an arrest. You're going to be arrested, too, if you don't move.
He just pushed her. He just shoved her away, and that was it.
He's moving towards her when this guy comes and cuts them in between. You don't know what's going to happen.
Sure, you don't, but I know that there's no reason for the cop to start pepper spraying the guy. The guy's locked in like a death quick time event. As soon as the cop starts to close the gap, and he pepper sprays the dude for no reason. We've got escalation there. Then they start fighting. I don't even want to say fighting. The guy doesn't even fight back. He turns around. He's slipping on the ice, and then the cop gets his whole crew over to tackle the dude and execute him.
Yeah, Sean, can I ask you this? You don't think the ICE officer, regardless of whether you think the ultimate decision to pull the trigger is justified, you don't think these officers seem well trained and handled the situation well, do you? Because it seems like amateur hour to me. It seems like they escalated. Seems like there was like 6 of them and they couldn't restrain one guy, soy-filled guy who is not exactly, looks like he's a beast, difficult to control. It doesn't seem like ICE is exactly sending their best to Minneapolis right now.
I mean, first of all, I believe this was like CBD, Customs and Border Patrol, not ICE.
Yeah, so DHS still, but yeah.
But again, like, what are you supposed to do in this scenario? Like draw me a...
I think 7 guys should have restrained him before they even had a chance to figure out he was armed. I think 7 guys ought to be able to fucking zip up a person so goddamn quick there wouldn't have been this wrestling around and his shirt comes up and a gun shows and then someone screams gun, then someone's able to make 3 different jerks on his fucking pants to get the gun out. Like, why couldn't 7 people? Holy shit.
Picture of how to do it better if they can't get in control of this individual that's on the ground. And then during that process, which is seconds long, they end up finding out that he has a gun. Like, one of them got in there and removed the gun. I think that was really effective to get in there and remove the gun.
Why?
Unfortunately,
really effective at what? Because it still ended up with his execution. Now he's unarmed. So it was really effective at getting him killed because that was the outcome.
That was
why were they even dogpiling him?
So was that part bad training or was that part good training?
The bad training was, one is shoving a lady with your arm. There's just no reason to do that. So that was bad. Pepper spraying the guy for literally no reason. That was bad.
Beating him in the face with pepper spray can.
Dude who's now totally discombobulated, who doesn't seem to be a threat at all. That was bad. Bringing all your boys over to tackle the dude. That was bad. Smacking the dude in the face over and over again with the bottom of the mace or whatever. That was bad. And then taking the gun off him, having a negligent discharge, and then executing the guy. All of these things were bad.
I could give, like, if a cop was fighting for his life, right, guy's got a knife, going to stab him to death, I could give him, like, pick up whatever you want and bash somebody in the fucking face. When there's 5 guys on top of one guy and you're still bashing him in the face with a fucking random object, a can of bear mace, what the fuck are you doing?
Pepper sprayed the guy after he interceded in their action, which you're like, well, I don't know if it was going to be an arrest.
That's not enough to pepper spray the guy.
What are you supposed to, so you're like, don't shove them, don't pepper spray. There was already a previous engagement.
Then say, you're under arrest. You're interfering, you're under arrest. Grab one of his hands, lock cuffs. Boom.
Where they told them to move back in the earlier video.
Sure, I just
so they had already warned
him.
So what are you talking about?
Clearly state that. So when a guy is standing in front of you with a phone, the only thing that you can do from that point on is
he's not just standing in front of them. Like, I get, like, in order for your scenario to work, you have to not tell the truth. But he was interceding in between him and.
Let's say he's standing in front of you, in between you and a woman. The only thing you can do is pepper spray.
A woman that the ICE agent or the Border Patrol agent was engaged with.
That was it. He wasn't punching him. He wasn't hitting him. He
was just standing in front of him, and there was no there was no context around it. He did not put his body in between him and the person that he was engaged with. No,
you're telling me the only path from that point forward is he has to start pepper spraying the guy.
I'm saying that is a proper use of pepper spray in that scenario. Like, what do you?
I'm not sure it is. He's not using force to threaten anybody. You could say you're under arrest for resisting for obstruction. Turn around, put your hands behind.
That's the proper use for pepper spray. There's no escalation of force. It's just pepper spray and then bullets.
You're back. And then if he attacks you or tries to run away, maybe then something could be justified. But simply the fact that he didn't immediately.
So here's a scenario I would give them. Let's say the Alex Preddy intervenes or whatever between them and that woman. And that cop grabs him by the wrist and says, okay, you're under arrest for interfering, right? Interference, obstruction, whatever. Alex Preddy then tries pulling away from him, and like it's like a tug of war thing. Yeah, pepper spray him. While he's picking up a woman off the ground, you like give him the old fucking reach around, bro.
Like back down and turn around. Does that really
this guy
justify
was already pushed by agents prior to this in a previous video? Have you not seen that video?
I have. He didn't strike or do anything
back. He was approaching them before,
which goes to the opposite state of mind that he shouldn't have thought the guy was a threat because he didn't attack or do anything there either.
No.
There's a video before where the ICE agents are kind of pushing him back to the sidewalk.
He ignored a warning. Typically, when you're escalating your behavior as a person like that is, which again, he already approached the agents. They already pushed him away in the previous video. And then they get into it with this woman. She ends up getting shoved to the ground. He throws his body in between them, which you describe, again, very deceptively as just standing. He just happened to be standing there. Like, isn't that weird how he happened?
Right. Don't leave the house. Don't be in this area. You know, don't do this type of thing. Well, whatever. Right. Fuck your protections under the Constitution. If you don't want to do this, then don't be doing that.
End up right between the Border Patrol agent and the woman on the ground.
Nobody
and then
disagrees that he's blocking. Yes, he's blocking the officer, sure, but he's not. The officer's not getting into the woman. He just rage shoves her away. That's all you see. And the guy moves over, he intercedes, and then he goes to.
Once you pepper spray somebody, you're probably going to have a harder to control subject if you're trying to make an arrest, right? Because they're going to want to be at their eyes. They're going to be wanting to fucking washing off, wiping something, right? You're probably, and now they can't see, so they're still standing. They're going to be fucking all over the place.
To pick the woman up, and then the officer starts pepper spraying. You don't think there's any other action the officer could have taken at that point?
I mean, he could have tackled him. There was plenty of things that you could do.
He could have just said, "Sir, move aside." He could have said, "Sir, I'm going to arrest you now."
They already engaged with this guy before, and he still didn't back off.
They didn't say they were detaining him. They did say they were arresting him, and he did back off. That's why there was no earlier engagement that ended in physical violence.
No, he didn't back off because he jumps in right here.
He was
already warned in that previous instance. Are we pretending that didn't happen?
Okay.
So, Stephen, I want to ask you a question because I've seen liberals and progressive commentators, and I understandably upset them.
I'm the Rittenhouse guy. Remember? Sorry.
I know you're a little different because you are actually a Second Amendment pro-gun rights guy, but and suddenly a lot of conservatives are like, if you have a gun, you're asking to be shot. Not you, Sean, of course. Not saying that about you, but we've definitely seen a few people get roasted for that. But I do wonder. You know, we've seen people like Mayor Frey, I think, really make this situation worse. Encourage people to engage in kind of disruptive protests that cross the line into illegality, like taking over a church. I mean, I don't want to get into that whole debate, but for example, this idea that people are praising this.
I don't think Mayor Frey had anything to do with telling people to go to protest at a church.
Man who was killed, which of course his life being lost is terrible. And I really do think important questions need to be asked for putting himself in that situation. There almost seems to be at least a portion of the left that seems to be actively encouraging people to interfere with ICE operations. And even if you think those operations are wrong or immoral or illegal, that seems like only a recipe for putting more people in danger. Do you not agree that that's a bad idea to do?
So there are multiple parts to this question. So the first thing is, unless I've missed something, I don't know if I agree with the characterization that Frey or Walls has told people to do anything illegal. I feel like I hear them over and over again say, make sure that
he called for the release of the activist who criminally obstructed the church ceremony.
Was that criminal? So
yeah,
I watched.
It was definitely, I think it was criminal. Yeah,
trespassing.
I watched this. So and I really did. I watched about an hour, but I couldn't see more. If anybody asked them to leave and they didn't, past that point, it's easily trespassing for sure, right? But I don't know. I feel like there was like a 30-minute inside thing, and then everybody left.
I mean,
I don't know if
I don't want to, but it is a FACE Act violation when you go and shout down a church service, and that's what it's being investigated for.
Sure. Okay. I mean, it could be investigated for that. Sure. But I mean, I don't know if I heard any like the mayor or the governor say like go into churches and protest into churches. You could argue that. No, actually, I won't even steel man that. Like they've over and over again told people that if they're going to protest, to do it lawfully, to do it peacefully, to not be aggressing on people or to be doing things that could be criminal behavior. Like I've heard that.
Not even put yourself in danger. To be wary of these people because they will fucking shoot you. Right? Stay out of danger. Don't put hands on it. Overwhelmingly be peaceful. We don't need violence. We don't need that. We don't need riots. Be peaceful, but do your protests.
Statement said over and over and over again. Even if people are engaged in some level of criminal behavior when it comes to blocking ICE people or protesting where they shouldn't, the answer can't just be executed.
So the FACE Act is basically like, it's again like stopping somebody from exercising their rights, right? So they're being charged with conspiracy against rights, which would be a violation of the FACE Act.
Them. That's just absolutely absurd. And you can feel that that ICE is acting in an immoral way, that it's still within the borders of the law, and so there's some level of civil disobedience where you're like, well, I'm going to accept getting arrested in this case. I wouldn't necessarily recommend people do that because it's breaking the law, and who knows what their criminal penalties will be. But like the answer can't be execution.
All right, you keep saying execution. That doesn't feel like a fair characterization to me. When you're saying it's not like they set out there looking to kill someone in cold blood, Stephen.
I mean, the crazy thing, when it's going wrong, but the officers are like feeding into it every single level of the interaction. Like again, if you watch that video.
They even have a video of one of the ICE agents mooning protesters from the hotel room, like showing his whole fucking ass, the goat, right up against the window. A federal officer. I understand teenagers do that. A federal fucking officer.
Sorry, I don't know why the officer's shoving people around. It's kind of crazy.
No,
and then like him pepper spraying the guy. Like all of this is just escalating until somebody dies, and then it's like, well, I don't know what happened. It's like, why? Like, there's no reason for them to be behaving in such a manner. You're inducing an event where you're going to have to kill somebody. You know?
I mean, what we're seeing by these left-wing agitators is not protesting. Like, if you had an issue with your local police department and you decided to quote unquote protest them by following them around during the course of their operations, blowing whistles to make sure suspects that they were looking for escaped, obstructing them.
You can make as much fucking noise as you goddamn want. Saying this is like, oh, well, you're helping them escape by blowing a whistle
in the middle of traffic.
All that is legal,
like
right?
we would call that criminal activity. Like you can't do that to your, you can't do that to your local police department. You can't do that to your local police department. So the idea that this is like regular, ordinary
following
protesting
somebody in
is
video recording them
agitating.
and blowing a whistle, is that legal or illegal?
That depends, actually. Like you could call it like disturbing the peace if you're making like obnoxious noise. Like I live in New York City. If I play music too loud, the police will show up to my apartment.
If you want to arrest, yeah, that was a good pivot. So that's not illegal, right? If they want to arrest them for disturbing the peace or whatever, I'd be surprised.
Yeah, obstructing law enforcement operations is definitely illegal. Again,
but you
if you're raiding a building in order to arrest somebody and you were blowing a whistle so that person in said building would escape, which is what these people are effectively doing, that would obviously be illegal.
Well, my understanding is it's not illegal. This is why you have apps on your phone that will literally warn you when there's a speed trap ahead. That this stuff has been decided to be free speech.
We're not talking about the same thing. You're interfering with an active operation.
It's notifying people of
a speed trap is the same thing. Maybe they're doing an operation to catch speeders, and you're reporting cops on your phone app and letting the people behind you know that there's cops ahead.
Enforcement presence has been in some cases upheld to be a form of protected speech.
Yeah, that's
also,
even this guy Sean agrees they shouldn't be wearing masks.
Again, you're talking about something different, though. If you go during an operation, let's say they were doing it.
Maybe they would have less of this bravado to just go out and fuck people up if their face was plastered everywhere when they did.
Neighborhood, right? You're a libertarian. You're against the drug war. If you follow them on their way to a drug bust and made as much noise as possible in order to make sure that the people who had the drugs in the house that they were about to raid got away, do you think you would be arrested?
Bullshit. It's their responsibility not to tip off the goddamn criminals, not yours.
Or do you think they'd be like, oh, First Amendment activity,
I do think I would get arrested.
In that case, in that case, you could be. But for the ICE stuff here, it doesn't seem like these are the types of targeted operations they're claiming. The names that they've been releasing, Minnesota has come out and said they don't even have some of these people in custody, or these people don't exist, or the records are like 20 years old. So it seems like we can't even trust that ICE is on any kind of targeted operation. For Renee Good, apparently they're just going door-to-door knocking. It wasn't a targeted raid or targeted bust. I believe for Alex Pretty, I think that he was just in front of they were in front of some federal office or whatever. So that wasn't a targeted raid or bust either.
First of all, that's not information that these people who are following them around know. They're not like, oh, well, I'm against ICE enforcement because they have technically outdated information. They're actively trying to disrupt them when they know that they're finding a person. So they have the intent to disrupt a law enforcement operation.
You're simply wrong on the law there.
Sean,
just by blowing the whistle by cops moving around.
They didn't know what was going on, right? They just see ICE doing something and they're blowing whistles and recording them.
It doesn't count as obstruction. It's been ruled on. This is not obstruction. It's not.
It would be different if they knew like ICE is after fucking Jose Ramirez. He lives at 123 Street. I'm going to run over there and tell him, hey, they're on their way here. I just heard it on the radio or some shit.
Sean, you do acknowledge that they do have a First Amendment right to record the officers, right?
Yeah, you have a right to record, of course.
So when people are following, and that's what this guy seemed to have originally be doing.
They don't want anybody watching. That's exactly right.
Is trying to serve as an observer and record ICE. And frankly, I have no issue with that. And I think that people, while they shouldn't get involved in the situations, which I think he did choose to do, and I do think was a mistake, even if it didn't justify his death, I do think people have a right. And I am kind of disturbed.
Again, like I have nothing against this guy personally. I wish he was not shot in this particular situation. It is a tragedy. You have every right to record law enforcement during their operations. But obviously when you're blocking people in, which is what Renee Good was doing, when you're doing the whistles to make sure people get away, the whole entire purpose of that is to...
I want to fight this, by the way. He's going to say, oh, well, she wasn't blocking anybody in. She was blocking the road. I think we counted 10 cars that went around her, including ICE agents. She wasn't blocking the road either.
Blocking in?
She was blocking the road.
You just said when they're blocking people in. That's not
she was blocking the road.
Okay, so you've changed your words. That's fine.
She was blocking the road. Oh, I'm sorry. I can't misspeak for like 1 second. She was blocking the road, or as many people would say, not blocking anything, just parking perpendicular in the road as you would normally do.
That Kristi Noem said, where Kristi Noem said that she was blocking people in or ramming them with a car. That was the lie that Kristi Noem said.
She ran the officer with the car. I mean, that's on video. So.
No, the officer jumped in front of the car and he shouldn't have been there. He should
no, she squared up to face him. Again, that's on the video. Like when she was reversing, she aligned the car with him.
Yes, I've seen them fucking slam on the brakes, and like one car comes in from the front and one in the back. They block the people in. Tell them that they're going to get arrested. I've seen them say, didn't you guys learn your lesson when you saw what happened, with that one woman? Crazy shit.
She aligned to go right, which is exactly the path the car took.
No,
why
she went straight.
In a moving vehicle? Why
she went straight and then was turning. And again, here's what we're doing right now. We're basing
the
this
video.
Against all their training. Against all their documents. Against all the studies that's been produced. He stands right in front of the car after walking all the way around it.
Slow down the video, and I looked at it with hindsight in 2020, which is the exact opposite of the legal standard. I determined, based on the trajectory of the wheels, that she was turned enough, whatever that means, to make that an unjustified shooting. No,
that's legal standard.
Sean, I don't. She makes contact with him. The idea that he has to count because she was all the way reversed. Remember, there's 3 turns in a steering wheel. He has to count whether she made 1 full revolution, which would be straight, or 1.5, which would be all the way from the turn. And then he makes that determination in a split second, and that's a fair standard, is absurd.
Right. Why did she turn it all? Why was,
argument, so continue.
Wait. So the truth is that it's a totality of the circumstances. The officer's been interacting with her for
And again, he should have never fucking been there. But even if he was there and that situation happened, what about the other 2 shots straight through the driver's side window at point blank? The car was past him. It can't fucking hit him now. Why are we still firing?
For over a minute beforehand. It doesn't seem like she was a murderer. This is like a large, like, lesbian white wine mom woman. He's arguing with her and her partner. There's no reason for that officer to have in his mind the idea that she's about to try to murder cops. And
I mean, except for her accelerating at him. And again,
why did they even stop? Several other agents went around, right? Why did he stop, get out, do the fucking thing, engage with them, record their tags, get back in his car, switch his phone hands, get back out of his car, stand right in front of the car?
And you're trying to do this thing where you make it based on her intent, which is not what's
not
argued. It's
about
not the
why you
standards.
should
Whether or
lie.
not
It's about-
a
I said
reasonable
multiple
officer
times.
in that same position would fear death or serious bodily injury with a car accelerating towards him.
It's considering a totality of the circumstances.
No,
the woman
that's
had
not.
shown
The standard
it
is whether a
standard.
reasonable officer in that scenario would fear death or
Under the totality of the circumstances, right? You can't just say, officer hypothetically is in front of car and car moves. You have to say, okay, this happened. They engaged with her. They talked with her. They did this. She said, I'm not mad. Talked to this. He went to his car. He changed the totality of the situation.
bodily injury as the again, not without the benefit of hindsight, with the information known to him at the time.
Hindsight. Why do you say hindsight? It's a totality.
Because you're talking about the wheels being turned. You, like,
I'm
from,
not
which,
talking about
again,
the
people
wheels being
describe
turned.
it
I've said this
from
multiple
behind.
times. It was her interaction before with the cop. There was nothing violent said. There was nothing crazy going on. She didn't seem to be demonstrating any lethal or violent intent. And no reasonable person up to that point who ends up walking in front of the car would think like, oh God, she's about to murder me. If you look at the
She's about to
totality
hit him with the car as she is running at him with the car.
as he walks in front of her car that's moving
Well,
in the
she squared
street.
up to face him when she
she backed up to reverse the
and
wheel.
then she turned her wheels and aligned better with him.
Totality of the circumstances.
Aligned better with him.
Violent or anything prior to this.
Hang on. So I didn't necessarily.
She went from all the way left to all the way right.
Want to go and debate the whole Renee Good?
He was straight. She never once put him straight.
Shooting as well, but it is important and it does matter. Sean, obviously you're right that if someone tries to run you over with a car, that is what would justify it. But the question is whether that's what actually happened. And I don't think it's clear. There are multiple different video angles that he was struck. One video appears to show that he was, but others appear to show otherwise. It's all very complicated. And also, again, without wanting to relitigate this all, he did continue to shoot through the side window at her. Once she
Destiny needs to get some sun. Doesn't he live down in Miami?
He was very clearly not going to hit him.
Or at least get some blood on there and make him, give him some, darken him up a little bit.
In 0.7 seconds.
What each instance of the use of lethal force has to be justified. And
That's
I don't
all
know
considered one instance. That's totally wrong.
Each pulling of the trigger has to be legally justified. It's not
That's
just
totally
you can start
wrong.
spraying
It's one
and if your
instance.
original
You're talking
shot is
about 0.7
valid.
seconds. The court has recognized multiple times that human beings are human beings, and the idea that he's supposed to have this like hyper perception in 0.7 seconds, which is the difference between shot 1 and shot 3, and know that shot 1 was effective enough or shot 2 was effective enough or 3 is absurd. Like
Right. He should have just mag dumped. Even when she ran into the telephone pole, he should have just kept fucking pulling the trigger. All justified.
I think they are responsible for every shot that they take with their service weapon, and I don't think these people are.
It'll be all three of these shots will be seen the exact same way, just because of the length of time between each shot. In extended situations, it might be different, but again, when you're considering whether the shoot is legal and good or not, you're considering a totality of the circumstances, which are the circumstances that lead up to the shoot. It's not just the moment that the car starts moving towards the guy. It's it's everything leading up to that. They didn't have any encounter.
The interaction, the talk. If they had engaged before. Him walking around the car, him going back to his car, him switching his head, all of that. Not just we pluck a guy out of nowhere, drop him in front of a car, and now a car's moving towards him. What do you do?
Woman didn't display any violent intent. The guy's walking in front of her car and whatever multiple times, so clearly he didn't feel like this was a threat or this was
when
she
he was
do.
filming her, she wasn't an issue, but when they tried to get her out of the car and she decided to take off, that's when it became an issue.
Why was he filming her?
See what you just said?
Try to take off. Not try to kill him, try to take off. And officers cannot shoot at somebody to stop a fleeing suspect. He just said it.
When she decided to take off, not ram him with her car. But when she was
because her
pulling out
intent
the
doesn't
lead,
matter, and I don't have to lie in order to make my point.
Yes, her intent doesn't matter.
Like, I don't have to read her mind to understand that a car that's 2 tons is a serious threat of bodily injury or death.
Then why was he standing in front of the car right after he backed up?
You mean after she squared up to face him?
Why was he standing after she backed up? After she backed up, why would he stand in front of the car?
Well, she was backing up then, and then
she didn't need to back up if she was trying to hit him.
She's turned to drive and then started accelerating.
And he could have just continued to move. He stopped. He would have been out of the way of her car. What was he planning on?
Oh, in hindsight, with 2020, like you could make that argument, but that's
it's
not
so crazy. I've never needed a hindsight. It is the legal standard, also, not hindsight 2020.
Not.
The totality
literally not.
The totality of the circumstances is the legal standard, and the totality of the circumstances doesn't make her seem like she's a deadly threat. It's not just at the moment that she starts moving forward.
Well, again, it's not just a deadly threat. It's a threat of death or serious bodily injury that a reasonable officer with the same information would act in that situation or perceive a deadly or serious bodily injury threat.
Why did none of the other officers perceive it?
The ones that weren't in serious danger, the ones that
were like a foot away from him. Yeah, the ones that were like a foot away from the guy. Why did neither of them see?
Right, because they can protect the other officer. right? It doesn't have to be me. I can protect another officer I feel it's in danger. Why didn't nobody else draw?
To perceive this deadly...
Not fire. Nobody else drew their weapons. They didn't think that this guy was in danger, or they would have drew their weapons to try to protect him.
Threat. This threat of serious
that weren't in front of the car.
The ones that were a foot away from the guy.
That weren't in front of the car.
Well, they could still act to defend their colleague.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
And they didn't
like they weren't in front of the car. Like that's why.
So guys, I want to move us along. I do want to move us along.
How quickly and easily that would have been.
I'm not sure we're going to get...
That's not true, by the way, right? They weren't in front of the car, so their lives were in danger, so they couldn't draw their weapons. No, that's not how it happens.
To the bottom of it, but ultimately we'll continue to...
If another reasonable officer that was right there watching it from fucking 6 inches away didn't fucking think that his life was in danger, then how many other reasonable officers would?
To be investigated. Maybe there may be a point of agreement on the next question related to this, actually, which is the interesting performance of DHS Secretary Kristi Noem in the aftermath of this shooting. I want to play you a clip of her at a press conference immediately after the shooting of Alex.
He does condemn her. We'll skip ahead of some of this.
And to kill the Department of Homeland Security. To get in front of a suggest is totally baseless and irresponsible. Some people, sure,
this country need. I'm not going to comment on an ongoing investigation to like come back into play.
Right.
Like she says, he approached with a firearm, which is like not technically a lie, but is effectively like the biggest lie that you could tell.
Yes.
He didn't have the firearm out. He didn't present it. Like it does not. It communicates the wrong information despite technically being true. And then she goes on to imply that he's a mass shooter, or he was a potential mass shooter, or he was targeting law enforcement, like to kill law enforcement, maybe not in a mass shooting kind of way, when that's not supported by the evidence. Extraordinary claims require extraordinary evidence. If I was planning to do something that terrible as Kristi Noem described, I probably wouldn't wait for me to be on the ground surrounded by 7 law enforcement agents, and then for them to find the gun for me to execute my plot. So yeah, this was absurd. Kristi Noem is an embarrassment. And again, you should not go off like half-cocked with that information and like deliver messages like this, because even the part that she said that's technically true in the beginning like is a lie because of what she's implying by it.
Yeah, Stephen, when you see Stephen Miller, who shares your name, of course, come out and immediately brand this guy an assassin who tried to kill law enforcement, I mean, I do believe that Trump has the right to enforce federal immigration law, and he was elected on a mass deportation agenda, but I think we at bare minimum deserve some degree of honesty and not this just blatant, brazen lying.
I mean, they've done this with almost every big shooting incident that happened. They did it with the Charlie Kirk shooting as well, where Nancy Mace and other people have literally just come out and started ascribing a whole bunch of stuff to this guy before we even knew who the shooter was. We've seen Kash Patel make crazy statements. We've seen Kristi Noem and Trump make crazy statements. Like, they just want to get ahead of the story so that they can kind of like spin whatever narrative or story they can before any of the actual facts come out, or until the next insane thing has happened in 2 other days and then we've all moved on from it. So yeah, I mean, it totally undermines credibility from all of our agencies. Like, you can no longer trust almost anything that they put out because you've seen that they're willing to just, like, the head of the agency is willing to come forth and lie like blatantly about videos we've all seen. I don't know. What am I supposed to trust anything else they put out? I'm not sure.
No, it's a serious problem. I mean, these people are also responsible for national emergencies. For, you know, if there is, God forbid, an attack on the United States, DHS is going to be putting out updates. And I just don't know how we're supposed to take this essentially, and I will say this, Ice Barbie seriously, right? She dresses up in costumes to go on TV, of uniforms that she's not actually needing to be wearing. She wears them as props on a television set, then goes back to her condo. And I just think she's totally embarrassed the administration, and they can do better, even if you don't agree with their agenda. I mean, surely there's a better advocate for it than this, but they appear to be standing by her. Here's Caroline Levitt.
First question, the answer is yes. He still has confidence and trust in Secretary Noem.
How is that possible, that you could see everything that's going on and still have confidence and trust in Kristi Noem, Sean?
Well, I mean, listen, Trump is also like a backstabber guy who likes to flatter you before he fires you. So that could be the kiss of death for all we know. But yeah, look, you shouldn't have confidence in, like, listen, I've heard the argument for why the right or the government is throwing out these narratives initially.
There isn't an argument.
And they say, oh, it's because the left will make their own narrative, a la Michael Brown or whatever.
Yes, anybody can make their own argument in the public. You're the government. You don't get to fucking preemptively just call people fucking terrorists.
You know, past instance that justifies it. It's just, I don't buy it at all. Like, you should not do this, especially if you're the government. Like, let people on the internet that are analyzing the videos like the Zapruder film, like, make their cockamamie theories or whatever. But like, there's a level of like prestige when you're in the government that you shouldn't do this. So yeah, like, people say, how do they have confidence? It's just doubling down on.
Yeah, that's what all the studies found, that it's a 2,000-pound car that's already moving. Standing in front of it is stupid. Second of all, shooting into it doesn't make you any safer at all, right? So first you have to prove the line that you were actually in danger and not trying to stop a fleeing suspect. Because what they found was that these CBP agents were literally standing in front of cars because they were frustrated that they couldn't shoot fleeing suspects, okay? So what they did was they stand in front of the car, then they were valid to shoot because their life was in danger. So not only that, but even if you fucking shoot and instantly fucking get a perfect shot, headshot right through the fucking forehead, right? The car's still coming at you. A lot of times now with a foot stuck on the accelerator.
On your side, like, our administration does nothing wrong. We have confidence in them, but like, as we've seen many times, you can have confidence in somebody up until the moment they're fired.
Yeah. Do you think that's where we're heading, Destiny? Is she going to be the first major firing from the cabinet?
Probably not. I feel like he stood by her through so much other extreme stuff. As long as she can continue to tank everything, it feels like they have their fall guy for this now that Bovino or whatever is gone. Yeah, so I mean, I shall probably still be here. And
well, yeah, you mentioned Greg Bovino, and of course he's the chief of Border Patrol. He is apparently being reassigned and no longer going to be in charge of the Minnesota operation. So that does suggest maybe a pivot. But I want to play you this clip of him because I find this extremely bizarre that even now, days after this incident, we still have no idea who the officer involved was. But that is, of course, in part because of the new DHS policy of masking officers and keeping them anonymous. Bovino was asked.
Was a less lethal instructor and had this training. What did the other agent, what was his history? And are they both working right now or are they on administrative leave?
All agents that were involved in that scene are working.
All right, listen. Even if it's the cleanest shoot you've ever fucking had, like the guy was literally shooting at you, missed twice, you popped up, shot him once, done, right? They shouldn't be working immediately after shooting and killing somebody or even shooting somebody.
In Minneapolis, but in other locations, that's for their safety. There's this thing called doxing, and the safety of our employees is very important. That's we're going to keep it.
Yeah, but I think Homan's being sent there just to save face and saying, hey, back this down. We went too far.
Safe as far as the number of shots, the number of agents involved, that, again, is going to come out in the investigation.
So it's bizarre.
I don't think Homan's a better guy. I think Homan's being sent there to back it down while still looking strong.
To me that these agents are still working. I mean, even if it was a legally justified shooting, they just took someone's life and were involved in a traumatic incident.
100% off duty.
Even if they're not guilty of anything, they should still probably be on administrative leave while it's investigated. And then I have to say, I understand that they face a lot of threats and intimidation right now, but to me, the masks have to come off, right? We cannot have anonymous people roaming the streets and apprehending people and using lethal force against citizens and we don't even know who they are. Sure, they face threats and that should be prosecuted by the FBI, to the fullest extent of the law. Anybody who tries.
When a regular officer is involved in a shooting, we have their names within hours.
To harass or threaten their family or anything like that. But we ask judges, we ask politicians, we ask everyday law enforcement, all to be identifiable by badge number, by public name. And it's part of the job, unfortunately, as it may be. I mean, even as public figures, we get stalkers, we get people.
I think if Kristi Noem keeps pushing, hey, Stephen Miller, this between her and Stephen Miller, then Kristi Noem is going. Stephen Miller's just involved in too much stuff.
Sending things to our address. We get doxxed. And yet, for some reason, they seem to think it's okay to have ICE officers and other DHS officials just running around masked and anonymous. Sean, do you support
while they're creating a database of protesters? They wear masks.
That, or do you agree that that's a problem?
Look, I understand why they have the masks. Obviously, ICE agents and their family members have been targeted in the past by these left-wing activists, but I generally agree with you. Like, American civilian law enforcement, you're supposed to know who they are when they're operating out in the field. And, like, yeah, we should prosecute the people that are exposing their friends and family and targeting them in all those kind of ways that they were doing in the first Trump administration, but that doesn't mean that they should be anonymous enforcers. Again, like, it's very rare circumstances where your law enforcement does this, usually where they're going up against gang members or they're undercover, but then they're also participating in a raid that you don't see their faces. And, like, every single operation related to immigration is the opposite of very rare circumstances. As far as the paid administrative leave thing, I mean, that's why we have paid administrative leave. Like, even if this is the cleanest shooting, which, you know, it is a messy, usually you're supposed to see, we have paid
indefensibly or to escalate situations when they're hiding behind these.
Agree. I don't. It's just the administration is just acting in the most divisive and aggressive way possible. Like, if Trump cared at all, and Republicans don't care about illegal immigration because it's a faux issue to them. They just throw it up whenever they want to, like, make voters mad about a thing. But you can tell with the way that they approach it that they don't actually care about it as an issue, and that the voters don't seem to care much about it as an issue aside from things to vote on. Because, like, imagine trying to explain to a European friend, so ICE is mass deployed right now doing immigration enforcement, and they're like, oh, that must be where, like in Texas or California, or no, up in Minnesota. Why? Like, the per capita numbers don't make sense. The absolute numbers don't make sense. It's because a cognitively impaired Republican kid, made a stupid video where 90% of the information was fake, and they decided to just go mass deployment of ICE to the state for just no reason.
Sean, your thoughts on that?
Yeah, so I mean, you can look by the numbers. The per capita rates of people removed from Texas and Florida are significantly higher than in blue states, and the reason for this is because you have state and local coordination. Like, Destiny talks about how the Republicans don't care.
That's happening in Minnesota as well. Right, we've seen the transfers. They've been doing it for years, literally.
Immigration or any of this. In reality, the Democrats are actively benefiting off of this conflict. That's why they don't work with the feds. That's why they encourage people to go out there. That's why they tell their voters consistently that they're not legitimate law enforcement. That's why you'll see on social media all these people saying, oh, well, ICE can't arrest you because they're not a general law enforcement agency, even though they absolutely can arrest you for obstructing their operations, just like any law enforcement agency could do so, because they want these conflicts to fester.
Right. Someone asked me the other day someone asked me the other day, where are the fucking Proud Boys and where are the anti-protesters and where are the Oath Keepers? They're ICE. They are engaging the protesters as counter-protesters, as ICE, with a fucking gun and a license to fucking kill somebody.
I mean, Tim Walz after this compared, I guess, I don't know who he's comparing to, but Minnesotans to Anne Frank, which again implies that ICE is the Nazis. And spoiler alert, if you were in the times of Anne Frank and you had to deal with Nazi soldiers, you would be justified to kill those soldiers. So
his argument is, even though Tim Walz comes out and says we got to be peaceful, we don't want riots, we don't want violence, you can protest all you want. If he makes a comparison to Anne Frank and Minnesota, that labels ICE agents as Nazis and gives citizens the green light to kill Nazis who are ICE agents.
This is what is being stoked up by these comparisons because they want this.
But Trump saying we got to go fight like hell. Mike Pence has to do the right thing. We all got to go over there and make our voices heard. If you don't fight right now, you're going to lose your country. Right now at Congress, that had nothing to do with the January 6th.
Conflict. Like, they benefit from it politically, and it's the biggest distraction for somebody like Tim Walz, who doesn't have to deal with the consequences of Nick Shirley's video, which of course Stephen had to mischaracterize.
Well, let's not litigate that. Let's not litigate that. That could be another episode.
I want to say, just to anybody listening out there, who's ever heard me say crazy things about Republicans in the past, this is why I don't think that it's worth it for Walz to take like the ultra kind position and to say, oh, there should be no violence in protest, because people like Sean and all the other Republicans will constantly mischaracterize every single thing they say. Both the mayor and the governor of Minneapolis and of Minnesota, respectively, have been unequivocally telling people, do not do illegal things, do not obstruct, don't riot, don't break stuff, like be peaceful, record people, maintain a distance. Like, they've been unequivocal in their messaging there. And yet
do not do illegal things, but they're kind of like the Nazis. I don't know if you guys know that.
You do agree that the Nazi rhetoric
the problem is you've
escalates
lost all your moral high ground when you're taking videos and selling merchandise in front of Alligator Alcatraz. You can't conduct yourself in that manner and then go, man, I wonder why Americans are opposed to our form of deportations. If Donald Trump wanted to, Donald Trump could have said, here's what we're doing. We're going to every single prison in the state, and if you've done a violent misdemeanor or any felony, we're deporting you. He could have made that announcement, and every blue governor, blue mayor, everybody would look like such a loser trying to oppose Trump on that initiative. Because how are you going to protect literal rapists and criminals and everything in your states and cities? But instead, they do the most divisive, most aggressive, most disgusting AI image, AI video, Alligator Alcatraz, selling merchandise, laughing about it, joking about it. I mean, like, what do you expect? Of course, this is what's going to happen.
Worse than that, Stephen, they sent people to... for a long time, I was very critical of sanctuary cities, and I still think it's a problematic policy. But at the same time, when you do have the federal government like sending people to dystopian El Salvadorian prisons without due process, I can kind of understand, Sean, why local authorities wouldn't just be comfortable turning human beings over to them or working with them closely.
I mean, they weren't working with them prior to that. Like, prior to sending, and they were sending Venezuelans to El Salvador because Venezuela was refusing to take their own citizens back. Like, there was a reason for it.
None of that justifies
That's a lie. I called this out before, and now I've been completely vindicated on the fact that we literally deposed Maduro in a military operation. To say the United States of America couldn't force Venezuela to take back some people is the dumbest thing I've ever heard in my
This is actually how they did it, because they started taking back people when their citizens started getting sent.
We just showed up and in a couple hours took their fucking leader and dipped the fuck out, but we couldn't make them take some deportees.
El Salvador. So, like, yeah, we could do it. Like, this was the method that they did do it.
No, you would just tell them and you would just do it. The idea that the U.S. lacked the power here is hilariously naive.
Okay.
All right. Well, guys, I appreciate the conversation. I appreciate both of you for participating in it, and hopefully we'll do it again sometime.
There you go. Good job, Destiny. Good job. All right, guys, I'm out. It's almost 1 a.m. Thank you for joining us. Thank you for being here. Support the show if you want to. The Just Quick Tools link. That's all the donation links. Make sure you send a message when you donate. I like to read it on air and thank people individually. I got some emails and some videos from you guys that I got to watch. Thank y'all for being here. Thank you for the support. I appreciate it. It's going to be cold the next couple nights, but I'll try to be here. We'll see if I can warm up the fucking office or not. Yeah. Thank you guys for joining us. Thank you for being here. I'll see you around the next one. Have a good night. Let me see you. Bye. Don't let anybody gaslight you with that other video. Even if you concede, like, hey, he's violent. He kicked a lie. He resisted what it still doesn't equate to execution 2 weeks later. Thank you guys for joining us. See you on the next one. Let me see you. Bye.
But I can tell you this about if this douchebag happens to see this particular show, you don't have the forking balls to call out the people on this planet by name and tell them exactly who they are and tell them the rest of the world who they are. You don't have the forking balls. You don't have the balls.
Okay, Scott.
Here we go, I think I started some shit. Listen off, it's about to get lit. Get the place in the best, you know that stage is set.
You're good, Fell Runner. Thanks for joining us.
Ain't seen none yet. Here we go, I think I started.
I got to get in here earlier in the next couple of days. The problem is, like, when I come here, I have to spend fucking hours just heating up the office where my teeth aren't chattering. I came in today and it was like, I can't let it get below freezing because I do have, like, water here. But I think when I came in today, it was like 38 in the office. I'll be fucking streaming. My lips turn blue or some shit. Look like I took ivermectin, baby.
Fucking profit to profit off of gossip. Worshipping drums, cocking, begging for a throat deposit. Swinging fucking meat hammers like four in a thong. He's strapped to the shaft, eating his chest like he's King Kong. Starving for attention, I'ma make your gut burst. I'll be your huckleberry, I can quench that thirst. Baby eating lizard people, alien sex. What's next? Trump in a dress, fucking Flynn on his desk. A retard in a vest, climbing up 5G towers. Cause you told him if he did, he'd get fucking superpowers. Here we go, I think I started some shit. Piss him off, it's about to get lit. Get the place in the best, you know that.
Hopefully we got the updates finished. It won't be an issue tomorrow either. I'll see. I'll check it before I go live.
Started some shit.
And whatever the fuck turned off my camera earlier, that was weird as shit.
Stage is set. You better buckle up, cause you ain't seen none yet. I used to find clues too when I was high on shrooms. I found myself a tunnel that led to.
I got something you can sit on.
Open his closet, I found some of his meat rockets. I strapped him to my shoes and then I flew through the roof. I found myself in orbit strapped to an F-16. High on amphetamine with Trump in between. Put on a light coat of baby oil and saluted the troops. He tapped me on the shoulder and said, "This is gonna be it." Whoa, wait. Stop. What? I'll get my files. What are you doing? It's it. Stop. Hold on. Fucking stop. Dude, come on. Seriously. This is arms and alcohol. Give me a. Oh my god. Damn it. Here we go. I think I started some shit. Piss them off. It's about to get lit. Get the place in them bets. You know that stage is set. You better buckle up, cause you ain't seen none yet. Here we go. I think I started some shit. Piss them off. It's about to get lit. Get the place in them bets. You know that stage is set. You better buckle up, cause you ain't seen none yet. Round 3.
Good night, guys.
Down goes Nino. Please say it isn't so. Got him backed up on the ropes, trying to ram it down his throat.